Hello, this is a first violin tutorial for Waltz from Sleeping Beauty by Tchaikovsky, which is arranged by Leland Forestblad. And this is a play-along tutorial, so if you do not have your violin out, go ahead and pause the video and get it out so that you can play with me. I'm going to show you, I'm going to kind of walk you through some of the tricky parts. I'll play everything for you, but then we'll break down a few of the parts that are a little bit more challenging, and I'll give you some tips and some practice strategies, and we can play it together a few times as well. Let's first make sure that our instruments are in tune. So I'm going to go ahead and play the A string first, D, G, and E. If any of your strings don't sound right, go ahead and pause and tune with a tuner. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and set the metronome. I have a Dr. beat metronome, which is set at 144 beats per minute with an accent on beat 1 of every measure, and that's going to help you feel the groove of the waltz beat. So here we go. Let's go ahead and play the introduction. Nothing very tricky about this part. 1, 2, 3, 1. Here we go. So those accented notes nice and separated. Then you have 3 bars of rest followed by 8 bars of rest, and then we come in on the melody at 17. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll go ahead and stop right there. With that one, you're pretty much following the waltz beat, but then when you get to 33, it is a hemiola rhythmic figure, which means you're putting the accent on 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2. It's like you're taking 2 bars of 3 and you're kind of making it into a big 3. Let's try it right there. 33 through 39, and then we'll break down the next part. 33 and... Good. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the metronome so I can do this next part a little bit slower. Starting at measure 39. Okay, so some tricky finger motion, nothing really super challenging in that, but you do have a few string crossings and it does go pretty fast. Let's do it again at that tempo. Ready, 2, and. And if you would like to take it slower, you're welcome to break up the bowing. Starting at measure 43, we're going to go ahead and do this one a little bit slower, and I'm going to do it without the metronome so you can really hear the notes. Now the trickiest thing here is you do have some low first fingers, some spots where you play low first finger and then move it to the high first finger, and then also some high third fingers. So I'll break those down for you in a moment, but first why don't you go ahead and listen. Starting at 43, we're going to play all the way to 55, and you're welcome to play along with me if you feel like you can on this. Here we go. 43, 2, and. Okay, so that is what it sounds like kind of all together. Now let's kind of walk through it and identify all the finger patterns that might throw you off. So you start with low second finger, and then A sharp is low first, but then move the first finger to the high position. So that one is, and those are all half steps. So A sharp to B is a half step, B to C is a half step. So it's 2 half steps in a row. So, and then here. And then from this, you've got D as the normal position for the third finger, and then the next note is G sharp, which is high third finger. So as you do that string crossing, you also have to move your finger pattern. So now there it's G natural, not G sharp. So you just played G sharp in measure 44, it is G natural and measure 45, so make sure you change your finger pattern. Then there's another low first finger, A sharp, and then followed by regular high first finger. Then the rhythm here, same as before. Okay, so just a few tricky finger patterns. That tempo that I was just playing is a good tempo to be practicing that one and learning it. Let's go ahead and try it now up to tempo with a metronome. I'm going to go ahead and start at measure 33, and you are welcome to play along. 1, 2, 3, 1, here we go. So that's what it sounds like up to tempo. The eighth note figures, it may take you a little bit of practice before you're able to play them cleanly up to tempo. But as you're practicing, just make sure that you really do understand the rhythm for the parts in between them. The spot like 41 and then 49. Not hard to play, but pretty easy to miscount if you're not really thinking about it. So make sure that you really understand the rhythm. Okay, moving along. Measure 57, nothing super tricky there. So let's put the metronome back on. Here we go, 57, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 2, 3. Okay, so just nice and light, separate bows on those. And now we are playing an accompanying figure at 61. Really important that you're counting beat 1 even though you don't play on beat 1. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1. Really light. Okay, so each of those just down, up, with a little slur. And let's go ahead and start that again at 61. 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, for that one you play a whole bunch of the same one in a row. I think there was 8 in a row, or actually more, before you move on to something different. So make sure that you understand how it fits together with the melody, which in this case is played by the violas and the cellos. And make sure that you're really being careful to get the notes in tune. Like for example, 70 is, you could do open E for that, or with the 4th finger might be better. And then there is low 4th finger for E flat. So just make sure that you're really paying a careful attention and playing those in tune. Next spot is a little bit tricky, 84. So you start in half position for 84. So if your first finger normally plays E, you're going to be putting your 2nd finger on E. So 2nd finger, and then like there, and you play the D sharp with the 1st finger. It goes. And then you move the 2nd finger, or the 1st finger, back to the normal positions. And then the G sharp, remember, is high 3rd finger. So slowly that's going to look like this. And then here you're going to shift. That is 2nd position. So just go up until you hear it in tune. Like that one you need to really find by ears. So normally B would be 4th finger, but here you're going to play the C with the 4th finger. So, and you can play C, B, A, and G with 4, 3, 2, 1, staying in 2nd position. So starting at 84. And then you shift down. Okay, so that line is a little bit tricky. Let's try it with the metronome. Starting measure 84. 1, 2, 3. Let's do that again. 2, 3, 1, ready, go. Okay, and then remember to, after this, go back to first position for the next part right there. Probably the trickiest bit in that whole thing is measure 84. So that one you're going to want to play slowly. So like, okay. Let's do that together. Again. So just keep going over and over it until you feel more comfortable with it. And then just remember when you get to that shift in measure 88, you're going to go. Just use your ear to find that note. It's not a big deal shifting up there. It's only one step of a shift, but use your ear to find the note and get it in tune. Okay, now at measure 93, you're going to be playing something with the cellos. You're going to be actually kind of passing a melody back and forth with the cellos. To start, you're going to play it first and they're going to echo. And then when you get to 101, you're going to hear them play it and you're going to echo. So your part sounds like this. We're going to go ahead and turn the metronome on. I'm going to start at 91 so you can hear getting into it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 2. 1, 2. And 1, 2. 1, 2. Okay, and then they've got staccato marks on those last two, and they're short, they're forte, so nice and short. You can even lift the bow after them. Okay, the only tricky fingering in that passage is measure 99, which is a D sharp. So 99, just bring the low first finger again. You're getting a lot of practice on low first finger in this piece, which is good. And then high second finger for B natural on the G string. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. We've got 8 measures of rest at 109. And then we play melody at 117. And there is a DSL coda. So I suggest that you maybe highlight that in your music. And when we get to 124, you play it and then you go immediately back to 77. No break at all. And cellos will continue playing the melody there. You're going to play the melody with them through 124 and then you'll be accompanying at 77. You just play a couple of lines and then after 90 where it says 2 coda, you're going to skip to the coda, which is measure 125. So let's go ahead and start 117 with the metronome. 1, 2, 3, and here we go. Coda, 2, 3. All right, nice. A couple of things about the coda. You're going to hear the second violins and the violas play the melody at 125. You do not play it with them. So 1, 2, 3. And then this. Now here is a divisi, so the outside part, or those playing the top note, would play the B. If you're on the inside, you would play F sharp there. So inside part would sound like this at 127. like that. Okay, so that's another acceptable way to play it. And if you're on the inside of the stand, that's what you should do. On the outside of the stand, you would play like that. And then make sure as you play these final notes, starting at 129, that you are remembering to play low second finger to get those G's in tune. That's very important. All right, so there's really only a few spots in here that are pretty tricky. Everything else is just kind of a matter of just making sure that you know your finger patterns and that you're playing it in tune. But the parts that are kind of tricky, like the passage starting from 39, really all the way through 61, you're probably going to want to slow that down to practice and just make sure that you're being really clear and deliberate about the notes and rhythms and getting those fingers in the right place. And then at 84 is another example of a spot where you're probably going to need to work on that little passage a bit. Okay, so I hope that is helpful. Good luck and happy practicing.